2 people have been killed and 3 injured in 3 separate package explosions at homes in Austin, Texas, this month. Crimes that have put the capital city on edge and prompted the police to warn residents not to even touch any unexpected packages. 2 of the blasts occurred on Monday just miles and hours apart, killing 1 person and injuring 2 others. The residents of the homes found a package outside their door that contained a powerful explosive device. The police believe those attacks are connected to a deadly blast at another nearby Austin home on March 2. The Austin Interim Police Chief, Brian Manley, held 2 news conferences on Monday, one after each explosion, warning residents not to touch, move, or handle any unexpected or suspicious packages. "Call 911, he said. "It's appropriate for residents to be concerned. The investigation is in its early stages, but we do see similarities among the 3 explosions," Chief Manley said. The motives, though, are not yet known, and Chief Manley emphasized that the police are not ruling out any motive that links the cases. "We are willing to investigate any avenue," he said, including the possibility of the attacks being hate-related, since the March 2 victim and the early morning victims on Monday were African Americans. The victim in the second bombing of the day was Hispanic. The earlier explosion Monday, which occurred on Old Foothill Drive, was reported by neighbors at 6:44 a.m., and the police and emergency services personnel arrived shortly after. They found the 2 injured victims, a 17-year-old boy, who later died, and a woman, whose injuries were not thought to be life-threatening. The package had been taken inside, where it exploded. At 11:50 a.m., the Austin Police Department started to receive reports of a second explosion on nearby Galindo Street. Similar to the earlier episode, the victim, this time a 75-year-old woman, came outside, found a package, picked it up, and it exploded. Her injuries were significant, and she was in critical but stable condition as of Monday afternoon. On March 2, Anthony Stephen House, 39, was killed when a package containing an explosive detonated at his Austin home. Both cases that resulted in deaths are being investigated as homicides, the authorities said. "We heard the explosion, it sounded like fireworks," said Amalia Martinez, 38, who lives with her son and daughter on Galindo Street, about 4 houses from Monday's second blast site. Her son, Angel Chavez, said he saw an older woman being taken in an ambulance. Her clothes were burned, he said. The explosion was heard throughout the neighborhood, said Brandon Rendon Vasquez, 27, who lives on the same block of Galindo Street. "People were pouring out of their houses," he said. The police knocked on doors and ordered residents to evacuate. Families remained out of their homes later in the day after the authorities sealed off the immediate neighborhood as part of their investigation. There was a large evacuation around the home on Old Foothill Drive as well. The police were canvassing the neighborhoods and checking to see if any nearby residences had external video cameras. The police confirmed that both explosions on Monday and the March 2 blast were all at residences and caused by very powerful improvised explosive devices, Chief Manley said, adding that officials had not yet determined what was used in the explosives. The department received more than 80 calls about packages by Monday evening, up from 2 the previous Monday, and the chief said that officers were prepared to handle all reports, even if it takes officials a while to arrive. The department is receiving support from explosive and canine teams from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives and from the Department of Public Safety, as well as resources from nearby areas, He said. No other nefarious packages had been discovered as of Monday afternoon. He said. Investigators do not believe that any of the packages were delivered by the post office, UPS, FedEx, or DHL. Instead, they think they were dropped off at the homes overnight, to be discovered by residents in the morning. Officials did not have descriptions for suspects or vehicles, but Chief Manley said that the person or people involved know how to build an explosive that detonates. He implored the community to come forward with any information. A $15,000 reward is being offered for information leading to the arrest of those responsible for Austin package bombings, Gov. Greg Abbott announced in a statement on Monday, adding that the state of Texas will provide any resources necessary to ensure the safety of our citizens, and quickly bring those guilty to justice. As the gravity of the bombing spree sank in throughout normally tranquil neighborhoods, residents acknowledged a new fear. Now everybody's on edge, said David Alvarado, 58, as he stood amid scampering grandchildren in his front yard on Vargas Road in south-central Austin, just blocks from police barricades around the scene of Monday's second explosion. He pledged to be extremely cautious with the future arrival of packages. "This one here is waiting on some tennis shoes," he said, pointing to a 7-year-old grandson. "I told my daughter I'm going to throw them in the middle of the yard to make sure they're safe." A woman several houses away talked about her newfound fears but drew the line at giving her name, agreeing to be quoted only as Ms. Park, her maiden name. "Whoever's doing this, I just don't want them to come put a package on my front door if they know I'm talking," said Ms. Park, 58, who has lived in that neighborhood for 50 years. The teenager who died in Monday's first bombing was a schoolmate of her son, she said. "He's taking it pretty hard," she said. The investigation is being conducted as a joint operation among several agencies. The FBI Evidence Recovery Team is joining the police in Austin, along with the ATF National Response Team, and a task force is being assembled. "We are not going to tolerate this in Austin," Chief Manley said. He was joined at that news conferences by agents from the FBI and the ATF, as well as members of the Austin Police Department's executive team, and the mayor of Austin, Steve Adler. These attacks come at a time when visitors are streaming into town for the South by Southwest Music and Media Conference, which began on Friday and runs through March 17. A spokeswoman for South by Southwest said in a statement on Monday that the Austin Police Department does not believe that the explosions are connected to the event. The substantial security operation already in place for South by Southwest has been instructed to be extra vigilant, she said. Chief Manley said that with all the additional help coming to Austin and with the full support of the governor's office, the department will manage despite having more to contend with citywide than usual. "It's not time to panic," he said. "It's time to pull together as a city and a community and solve this."